while, hasn't it? April has been kind of a dead month for movies.
Oh, don't.
Oh yeah.
Put this down now.
But yeah, April's been pretty much a dead month for movies, and even though we probably should have seen movies like I don't know what it was called. That's just how dead April has been as far as cinema is concerned. I can't even remember what was released 2 weeks ago rather,
but tonight was. I mean, would you pick anything else out for your birthday?
I really wouldn't.
Oh yeah, today is May the 4th be with you. May 4th is Amy's birthday, so
that's what
May
sucks
the 4th
about
be with your
it.
birthday.
Like, all my friends are geeks like me, so people care way more about Star Wars Day than they could possibly give a fuck that I'm a year older. And I don't blame them.
No one really ever cares when we get a year older, do they?
Not when we get around to our age. People stop caring until about like 75. Once you get past 75, now every birthday matters because every birthday might be the last birthday.
Yeah, well, the worst part is I'm a Trekkie.
Oh.
No.
It's not like Trekkies can also be Star Wars fans. No, they're mutually exclusive. Mutually fucking exclusive.
This is a very black and white issue, of course.
Oh, of course. But
I'm actually, I'm a fan of Star Wars. I like the one scene where Luke is looking into the binary sunset.
That was the one scene.
I really like that scene.
But everything else.
Yeah, nothing else in that movie have merit. Just that one scene.
But May came in roaring like a lion with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And we're going to avoid spoilers, of course. So
goodbye.
So general thoughts. I think we need to start with some general thoughts. I'll kick it off by saying, like the first one better.
Really?
I like the first one better, but this one felt, I don't know, like, I think I like the first one better because everything was so fresh and new, and it's hard to replicate that. With Volume 2, I think it is the better story. It's sort of like The Fate of the Furious again, whereas, like, I like the previous entry better because it was more fun, but this is the better movie, I think. Except, even
For me,
the
it's
villains.
the other way around.
Really?
I like not the first part. I like the first one more than the second.
Oh,
But for the opposite reasons. I thought the first one was kind of a better story. And I felt that it was... I felt that this one was more of like the more crazy fun.
Oh,
well, okay, how do I put this? This was better in a more Jupiter Ascending kind of ridiculous kind of way, but without the stupid. A little bit, a dash of stupid.
Oh, yeah,
but it was intentional stupid this time. The humor was supposed to be there.
The face planet.
The face planet was pretty stupid.
That was...
The face planet was pretty stupid.
Choice.
The boss fight.
I thought that was fun. I did think that was more fun than the first, like, any one scene in the first movie. But the first movie as a whole, I thought was more fun than the second movie because it's easier to have fun when you're not expecting something.
That's true.
So
no, I still disagree. I actually liked this more than the first one. Way more.
Oh, so you're disagreeing in that you liked it more than us, not disagreeing and saying, no, this movie was shit.
Oh no! I freaking love this movie.
Well,
I like it better. I like it better than the first one.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, I'm waiting for the day where one of us sees a movie that we love and the other one hates it. I keep waiting for the day, and that is yet to come.
We've had differences of opinions.
Sometimes, but never like the diametric opposite.
We've chafed, but never that. No.
Yeah, like we never had the diametric opposite. I keep waiting for that day to come, but it has yet to come. But to your point, though, about it having more merit to the first movie, were you placing it above the first movie?
I am, yes, because the first one I felt they spent a lot of time in the prison, and since it was the origin story, they had to spend so much time setting everything up, whereas this time you're just allowed to get right to the meat of things without having to spend, half of your runtime just introducing your characters, which I liked.
Yeah, but where the movie kind of lost me. That's the wrong verb here. That implies like it's more negative than it actually is. But for lack of a better term, where it lost me was that the drama impacts of this movie felt like it was sort of like it didn't really ease into it. It was just sucker punch after sucker punch
Yes.
after sucker punch, and that kind of left me feeling more cold than the first movie. Whereas the first movie, when it went into dramatic airports, it felt more naturally in weaving, where it felt like the story would go there or the story would go there, but then here it just feels like dramatic impact, and then like boom, okay, that's over. Let's move on. Like, even though Michael Rooker, who as Yondu, was the standout character in this movie,
I love Yondu.
Yeah.
and he, and Michael Rooker knocked it out of the park as far as I'm concerned. His character goes through this arc where it just feels so erratic, and the pacing of it is just so. It feels like it's start-stop narrative, because the story splits into three ways, even though it's structured correctly. It accomplishes what it's trying to do, but at the sacrifice of some like seamless character transitions. Like Michael Rooker going from at the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, like you can actually see the seams and the stitches where like this is where he has this turn and this is where he has this turn.
Again, I disagree, because of he kind of had the start of that arc in the first movie, and you could see the good in him. He, his motivations and. I know I see what you're saying, but I personally disagree. I don't think it came out of nowhere. I think it was always there. It's just now he just had the motivation.
Well, what I'm talking about, I'm not saying like why he did what he did came out of nowhere. I'm talking about like from a scene progression without going into spoilers. There was a particular point in the movie where he's talking with Rocket Raccoon, and he starts talking about his history. And then it just seems like a snap, like, okay, let's team up.
For me, it was, have you ever had that moment in your life when you just have a realization when talking to someone?
Mm-hmm.
Just out of nowhere. It never occurred to you before that moment. And then you feel closer to that person for it. Because I felt that many times, and that's what I saw in that particular scene.
Chime in.
Mm-hmm.
Agree with you on most of the parts, but I actually did feel that one moment was appropriate. It was one of those quick. We're in the we're in the middle of a battle with opposite forces and a god, and in the spur of the moment, it was we need to make this connection right now. He knew that the connection was there before he saw himself in that, but he wasn't. He's not a soft kind of guy, but a lot of times people like that, right in the middle of the heat of the moment, it's like it's there.
Well, I guess the environment didn't sell me on the heat of the moment, considering they were in a prison cell where it just kind of feels like they're just kind of waiting. So yeah. I mean,
what else are they gonna do besides talk?
Yeah, I suppose like what really did it in for me as far as that scene is concerned is that
Wait, that wasn't a prison cell.
Yeah,
wasn't it on the spaceship?
It was on the spaceship, but it wasn't in the prison cell.
But it was in a cell in the prison. It was a cell on the ship. They were locked inside a cell.
They not when this particular moment happened.
No, I don't think so. I thought this was after they got out.
It was after.
No, this was during.
I'm pretty sure it was after.
No, it was during.
Is it really that important?
That's not that important.
It's really not.
Well, it was kind of important to the moment being appropriate for them.
The
to
moment was important, but not where the moment happened.
Well, kind of. Like if they had time and they were in a space, in a cell, then
the point I was trying to make here is that because of the scene progression, where we're jumping to what's happening in this side of the galaxy and we're jumping to this side of the galaxy, it's hard to keep connecting with what this individual character is going through at this particular point at this particular time of the story, when you spend so much time on this character at this particular part of the galaxy whose actions and feelings are nowhere near these other characters. So there's this there's this gear shift between
I will give you that.
Yeah.
Ensemble films often have trouble with that kind of thing, and this is no different. But for me, it didn't really detract. It was noticeable, but it didn't bring the movie down for me in any way, if that makes any sense.
Oh, from an ensemble film standpoint, it is kind of par for the course. But that's why I liked Guardians of the Galaxy 1 more, because it was still an ensemble film, but there was never that moment because all the characters were pretty much together for the entirety of the movie, which they get to do that because it's an origin story. So you need those characters to bounce off each other for the majority of the film because that's what the basis of the movie is on, the character interaction between the team members. So once the movie gets to establish that, then they can play with one character interacting with the other, and be a little bit more experimental and segment them off, but at the expense of again narrative cohesion. Which again, I know par for the course. That doesn't mean that doesn't chafe at me. So
That's fair. To me, it can be done with multiple set pieces and different, following different narratives, but I think there were too many in this case. You've got basically 3, maybe even 4 different threads trying to tie itself together that you had to follow along with, and jumping from one to the other, one of them being extremely weak, I thought, which I kind of go ahead and say, I guess villain?
Yeah,
Kind of antagonistic force, but it was completely unnecessary to the movie. Aside from kickstarting the first MacGuffin to really get the plot going, they were completely unnecessary to the entire film, I thought.
Yeah, let's make no bones about it. There's 3 sections of the story, and it begins with the team protecting a series of batteries from an interdimensional alien. And Rocket Raccoon just decides to make off with something valuable to, what were they called again? The Legion?
Just batteries.
And I know what they were batteries, but like Ayesha was the main character, the leader, Sovereign. The Sovereign. Yeah. The Sovereign had basically Rocket Raccoon has stolen something from the Sovereign, and the entirety of the movie is them trying to get back what they stole and punish the Guardians for it. And
because MacGuffin.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't exactly call it a MacGuffin necessarily.
Because he had absolutely no motivation for taking it. It was just okay.
Like
It was the thing that it was a worthless item that got the plot kickstarted. That is the very definition of a MacGuffin.
Well, it was
no
more
context to the plot itself except have that purpose.
It's only a MacGuffin if it's a MacGuffin's Chekhov's gun, if it were, because it's also brought up and then used at the very end of the movie. So
well, I mean,
they give a MacGuffin, if you will.
They give character arc for Rocket Raccoon, because you steal things because you have this hole inside of you and everything, like
which was dumb. That was dumb. I thought
it's character arc. But
he didn't have a reason. He just did it because they needed a reason for them to get into basically an action scene.
I'll admit that the entire feud with the Sovereign over a quirk thing that comes up as a character thing. It was a little bit of that was kind of weak sauce.
It was very weak sauce. Do people still say weak sauce?
You might as well have.
Well, we did just watch something with hot sauce in it, so sauce is kind of on my mind right now.
Hot sauce is always on your mind, dude.
Plus having a headache, that capsaicin helps.
These two are feeling pretty under the weather because of seasonal allergies and such. Whereas I'm perfectly fine.
Why do trees exist? Spring allergies are the worst because all I can think of, because I know it's tree pollen, and all I can think is the trees are fornicating with my face.
Pretty soon you will be Groot. You will be Groot.
I would be okay with that, actually, because he was adorable. They knew to focus on Groot in this movie.
Yeah, that's another thing where this movie kind of lost me. Like, I hate intentional cuteness. I hate
it was pretty. The opening sequence was pandering as hell.
Like I will say, like I would hate the opening sequence if it weren't for the fact that I liked the song they used. I liked the song they used.
Mr. Blue, Yellow. I love that song. I think we all do. Did we all three love that song?
But I mean, they were tongue-in-cheek about it, at least, because they kept referring back to it, going like, "Oh, he's so cute, he's so cute." But they were aware of it, but at the same time, it didn't hide the artifice that they're clearly going to be coming out with a whole bunch of Groot merchandise from this movie.
Yeah, I hate the fact that it's tongue-in-cheek, actually. I hate that because it feels like they're trying to get away. We know this.
Get it?
Get it? Like, he's like, yes, I do.
Self-aware.
He's like, yeah, you're self-aware, but you're just trying to pat yourself on the back for basically making this manufactured bit of cuteness to put on lunchboxes and t-shirts.
Speaking of which, the soundtrack.
Soundtrack is better, I would say. Like,
really? I
thought no.
did that. No, the soundtrack from the first movie was way better.
Yes.
No, I would disagree with you. Although, I will say that My Sweet Lord, I don't care who I'm spoiling it for, My Sweet Lord Hate that fucking song. Hate it. Every other
I
song.
didn't enjoy it either, really.
Yeah. George Harrison should be ashamed that he wrote that song.
George Harrison is dead.
Good.
Wow.
I said it. I don't care. I mean, after he wrote that song and performed it, God should have struck him dead where he stood. The fact that he gave him cancer was actually better.
Well, that would have been fitting because, as he said, "My sweet Lord, I really want to see you."
Well, it's like, oh, you're going to see me, George
I really
Harrison,
wanna be
after
with
an
you."
8-year-long battle with cancer. Boom!
Well, really it.
What is wrong with you?
It's like, can I really be blamed for feeling this way? He did write a terrible song.
So,
And that makes him worthy of dying of cancer.
Exactly. Now you're getting it.
I honestly thought that there were only I only enjoyed 2 of the songs in the soundtrack this time around, whereas I probably
Same.
enjoyed at least 7 or so in the original.
That's the difference between, like, I can barely remember 2 songs from the first one. I can remember.
Hooked on a Feeling.
Hooked on a Feeling.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
no,
yeah.
can't see a content ID.
Moon Age Daydream.
Moon Age Daydream, and that's like all I can remember
Oh,
from it.
sure, there's more. Let's see, Redbone. No, that was.
You know, like Redbone, like these songs just really don't do anything for me. Versus, The Chain, again for Fleetwood Mac, one of their better songs.
That was. I've heard that so many times. It's a great song. Don't get me wrong.
The Fleetwood Mac's The Chain, ELO's Mr. Blue Sky, of course.
That one was very.
Like those two, just by themselves, way better than like.
Oh, you're gonna hate me. I'm not a Cat Stevens fan.
Well, I'm not too big on Cat Stevens either, but I did enjoy the ending song.
Yeah.
So we're not going to mention what because I think I will go into
Come and
spoilers.
get your.
It was appropriate. It was appropriate
Oh yeah, it was.
for what was happening.
Well,
It elicited the emotion.
What I liked about the soundtrack here is that they went through the deep cuts to find the thematically appropriate song for the sequence. Like I would have never thought to use "My Sweet Lord" because it's a fucking terrible song, and anyone who listens to it is a goddamn monster. But I will admit that what it was trying to elicit for the scene it was in, it did its job. And it's not like you hear that song in every single fucking movie released, especially in the 60s. Fortunate Son!
Fooled Around and Fell in Love. Another one from the original I like. That's at least 4.
Well, again, that's not to disprove my point about, like, the first being weaker than the second one.
No, it's not.
But, like...
But I'm just saying, I remember
I
plenty.
get what you're trying to say. The first one, the music thematically didn't fit, but
it was kind of fun to hear.
Acoustically, it fit. The feel of the song, I think, fit better for what was happening on screen. Whereas this one, the theme and lyrics of the song fit way better to what they were trying to do.
I felt that it fit too much. What I liked about the first
It
one...
wasn't Suicide Squad levels of just like with the lyrical content.
Well, certainly not.
So like there's two
but there was thematic, yeah.
You know, but there's two sides to the coin. There's, you know, Suicide Squad is just obvious choice of obvious choice for music for obvious choice of music for obvious scenes, and that in War Dogs. And pretty much every single Vietnam War movie ever made, you would guarantee that it will have Painted Black and or Fortunate Son or Running Through the Jungle, you know, those kinds of songs. You get that. Then you get like these esoteric, completely, why is the music being played here in this particular scene? Like Madonna's movie about the king that abdicated his throne. You know, like, I forget, W? Yeah, I think it was W, something like that.
No,
But
it was 2 letters, but it was
W
not
something rather.
worth the neurons that are firing in my head right now to remember it.
Yeah, but like her, like she would like put songs of like, do the twist, you know, like do the twist while people are taking drugs. Yeah, exactly. It's.
I'm talking about the one with like Argentina. Don't cry.
No. That's not Elvita.
Okay,
It's not
Elvita. Okay.
Yeah, not Elvita. No. But in that sweet spot is the off the beaten track songs that fit the theme, and this is where this movie kind of shines. I mean, honestly, when was the last time you heard The Chain in a movie?
Fair point.
I mean, like, you're a Fleetwood Mac fan, so you would hear the song a bunch of times. Well, when was the last time you heard a Fleetwood?
The last time I heard that song was
in a movie.
Can't be in a TV show.
Can't be in a TV show. In a movie.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to waste time.
Yeah, but
it either comes to me immediately or doesn't.
Yeah, like, but the point is like you can't readily call it back. It's not like they used "Go Your Own Way" or "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow." Don't stop.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. It's just that the choices in the first movie were so kind of like bizarre, and they felt like they were actually like handpicked and they were like personal to someone, rather than like this is something
they were all legitimately great songs, every single one.
But
something that you would hear on
it's like a mixtape.
Yeah, but it didn't feel like they were so much for other people as they were personal to the person who chose them or something. You know, like
like Star-Lord's mom.
If I recall, I think that but actually, I think that I read that there was actually a real mixtape that somebody, one of the producers or something, I can't remember who, but actually had a mixtape, and they were just like, "Hey, what do you know? What do you want to use for the soundtrack?"
That's actually kind of
that I will. If that actually did happen, I would totally believe it. Like just hearing it just without any
like
kind
just
of
somebody had a mixtape. Or like, what's like the first thing that you have on hand or something like that? I can't remember, but it may be bullshit.
It's like Blue Swedes hooked on a feeling. It just happened to be.
Yeah, it just happened to be like one of the producers' mixtape. Right?
And you know what? I would to the movie's credit, that has its own appeals. But as far as filmmaking is concerned, that's
it's risky. That's for sure.
It's risky, and it worked there, but that was sort of like lightning in a bottle, and that worked to that movie's fun. And that actually goes to my point about how the first movie was more fun.
Yeah.
Whereas the second movie is just the better built movie, I suppose. I keep coming back to again. Like even though I don't particularly jive with the structure of like the branching paths of this character's doing this character's doing that, I can recognize it as, if you're going to have to do that you can hardly make a better movie with that structure than what they made here. It's just not.
I agree.
So I'm giving the movie a bone in that regard. But when you compare like the feelings that the first movie elicited from me versus what the feelings of the second movie elicited in me, it's like the first movie just made me feel better. And I think that's all I can really come down on it. So after Gabe accidentally left something out, which didn't need to be said, especially for a spoiler.
I accidentally left something in.
Yeah, I left something in, which is actually the more apropos phrase. Let's talk a little bit about what we can talk about as far as the story is concerned. Oddly enough, I thought where the trailers show Kurt Russell's character, I thought that was just like, why are they showing that in the trailer? I thought that would be more like like he shows up fairly early in the movie, and it's, can I say, like, Kurt Russell to me is sort of this. It's like he's on the precipice of being one of the better Marvel characters. On the precipice, but the story just kind of went into a different direction, and it fit, but I just didn't feel like, it's like, God damn it, like we could have had another great character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but
I think they should have kept that closer to the vest and saved it for the third movie. Honestly,
that's what I'm saying. This felt like Guardians 3 to me.
Yeah,
the ridiculously scaled epic proportions of Marvel films continues. You know?
And now knowing what happened, it's like, where do you go from here?
Which is probably why they're not going to make Guardians 3 until after Infinity War. Like, seeing the end of the movie though, seeing the end of the movie does make me think, like, it's sort of like a portentous outcome of how we can expect Infinity War to go.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, like, when you think about like who they fought and where they fought and like where everything, like how everything came to be, like, it's like, yeah, I could definitely see how this would go, like a Thanos fight would go, especially considering the extenuating circumstances, a lot of people having to do multiple things at once. I could definitely see, like, this is sort of like the blueprints of how, like, the final battle with Thanos will go at the end of
I can see that. I can see that. And now I'm hoping they kind of don't, because that would just be too obvious.
Yeah, but on the other hand, like, how can a movie like Infinity War end without this big old battle against, literally the guy who's trying to end the universe to appease Lady Death herself? I got to imagine.
Comics are weird.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but Thanos banged Death, and Death has got that sweet old puss that he is willing to kill the.
Was it actually Lady Death though?
Not like Lady Death, the comic book.
Okay, because I was gonna say
Dark Horse Comics or Chaos Comics.
Yes,
Chaos Comics.
It was Chaos Comics, but Death in the Marvel universe is a woman.
Of course.
which is weird because Death is like the skeleton and a hood, but the hood is there's breasts. Like there's an outline of breast.
Because of course there are.
Oh, even skeleton has to have.
Oh yeah, of course.
Boob window, yeah.
Yeah, but apparently, Thanos likes them bony and no cushion for the pushing. If there's cushion for the pushing, he is pushing that one off his dick and just right into the pile.
If she does have the breasts and it's covered.
For that. You began that sentence without knowing where it was going to end.
Yeah. Like that's what happens when you talk extemporaneously.
If she does have the breasts and it's covered everywhere else, how do you know what is and isn't?
Maybe that's the appeal of it. It's sort of like a glory hole. You don't know what's on the other side of that cloak, man.
It's like an actual black hole.
All I'm saying is Thanos is just hypnotized by Death's sopping wet puss that...
Oh, here we go.
that he's going to destroy the rest of the universe.
Needlessly pornographic here. Yes, thank you, man. Thank you.
No. I think this requires further thought. Just well, let's have a dissemination of just the physics of how this would possibly work. So a skeletal being has tits and has to have a functioning set of.
JJ.
Well, yes.
Mm-hmm. A sopping wet puss, yes.
So is it just like attached to the bones, just like with sinew, or?
I really do.
Pocket universe.
Is it like popping, off the bottom half of a Barbie doll and sticking to the top half of a Skeletor figurine?
Well, I think that, he actually dives in, and then they go to this pocket universe, and then, they have mind sex.
So
basically like, Stallone and...
Wait, is this the same Death from Deadpool?
Yes. Well...
Oh, that two-timing whore.
Oh, yeah, same Death. Yeah, like that's
Demolition Man. Yeah.
Demolition Man.
Just, they just have like mind.
I was about to say, like, where in the world did you get that from? It was like Stallone. Oh, you're talking about Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Speaking of Stallone,
that's probably it. They don't even have sex. They just
Death is one hell of a sugar mama.
Speaking of Stallone, you find out that he pops up in the movie, like in the opening.
Oh, thank
credits.
you. You see, that was my way of trying to ease it in to see if that was spoiler too much. Or
no,
not.
Because he doesn't really do anything in the movie.
No, half the cast was. I'm like, what?
Like he was in the opening credits of the movie, so like that's not a spoiler. But I will spoil one thing for you in that he doesn't do jack of shit in the movie. You think he's going to do something, but he doesn't, and that's kind of disappointing for me because you finally get Stallone in your Marvel movie, and then.
Most cameos though, that's kind of.
But it wasn't a cameo. He was in the opening credits.
It was a glorified cameo.
Yeah, like he played an important role to Rooker's character Yondu, and from that's where you feel like Yondu. This became Yondu's movie in essence. So
a lot of the way it was.
Yeah, and Stallone's character, brief as he appeared in the movie, was part and parcel of why it became his movie. Although I don't necessarily see how he could have been in the movie more, considering his role, but he better be showing up in Infinity War, all right? You do not promise me Stallone in a Marvel movie and just have him there for a heartbeat, all right? Benicio del Toro, sure. Jeff Goldblum, sure, but not Stallone.
That's where you draw the line, yes.
Yes, I draw the line at Stallone, okay? Because
that was deeply confusing to see him pop up. He was in the previews, right?
No, he wasn't. Stallone, he was not.
No, he was not.
No, Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum was in the preview for Thor.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
I was either that or Spider-Man. I couldn't figure out which, but I was like, what the hell is he doing?
That's pretty cool.
I marked out like crazy when I saw Hulk in that preview.
You really did.
That was.
Was that leading to like a comic that you were a fan of?
Hulk's my favorite Marvel character, so I
really. How do I not know that?
Because I don't own any of Hulk's comics.
I'm not a Marvel guy.
I'm not a Marvel guy, but
it still feels like something I should know.
Yeah, but Hulk's my favorite Marvel character, and I like to see. And World War Hulk is.
Because you didn't Hulk out over him being, well, I guess that's because you expected him to be in the other movies that you
I was expecting him, and then
in the Hulk, he's kind of the Hulk.
Yeah, like in the Avengers, in the Avengers movies, I expect him to be there because he's in all the promotional material, but nobody expected him to show up in Thor Ragnarok, and this is their sort of backdoor way into having World War Hulk. And hopefully, some of the expanded universe characters, unless Disney finally just paid Universal, their $2 billion and a golden princess just to get the rights back from Universal.
Golden
Oh
Princess.
my god, that's right.
Yeah, because
That's funny.
Universal still holds the rights to all of the Marvel. They don't own the individual rights for Hulk, but all of the extended universe of Hulk, like Thunderbolt Ross, like his Rogues Gallery, and even like Betty, they're all owned by Universal. The film rights are.
That I did not know.
Yeah, so like even when Disney still bought like Marvel, and like all the Disney properties are still under one roof. Not necessarily. Fox still owns X-Men and the Mutants and Fantastic Four, and Universal still holds Hulk rights. So
Well, they got Spider-Man back from Sony. That's a plus.
well, if they could do it for they do it for Spider-Man because Spider-Man's like a huge box office draw even after what Sony did to them, but not necessarily what Hulk. For some reason or another, audiences will see a Hulk movie, but not nearly as many as will see a Spider-Man movie. Like the Incredible Hulk, like the redheaded stepchild of the original Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the movie enough, but I will admit
Why?
that again, Hulk fan right here.
You know what's interesting about that is, you know what my second favorite Marvel character is?
I'm blanking on him, but yes.
Her.
Oh yeah, her.
Come on, it's not hard.
Shulk.
Is it She-Hulk?
Yes.
Yeah, She-Hulk.
I fucking love
Exactly.
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
only because Sabretooth's my favorite.
But Universal still owns the rights to Jessica Walters, so
Oh, that's a shame.
Because I really, really want a She-Hulk movie, obviously.
That would be pretty awesome to see.
it would be awesome just because it would basically be Disney, like Marvel Studios' answer to the Deadpool movies of being self-aware.
Because she has cosmic awareness.
Mhm.
I'm still angry that they haven't had the Wasp in. Well, really,
Well,
not really.
they kind of
They,
did in
they
first
set
class.
her up, but
They kind of had her in first class.
eh,
Oh yeah,
it
we need to
wasn't
mention.
really, though.
We need to mention
It just wasn't Janet.
Birdman,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, like in Spider-Man: Homecoming, he didn't know
Michael Keaton.
that Michael Keaton was in Spider-Man: Homecoming as the
I
Vulture.
didn't either. Oh my god, we were freaking out about that.
Because
That is perfect
this is
casting.
so weird and meta and. Okay, so following this timeline of him doing Batman, and then he did the artsy film Birdman, and now he's doing.
And now he's a bard.
Now he's Vulture.
Yeah, he's a literal Birdman.
I'm
yeah.
just like, as the next step, he's gonna actually grow wings, and in real life, he's gonna become a superhero.
Or
Then they'll make a movie about that.
If anyone would become a superhero in real life, it would be him, I think.
This is so weird. I mean, I'm not complaining, but it's so weird.
Meanwhile, Jack Nicholson is looking all of this and saying, "Where does he get such wonderful roles?" Oh, you know what I just did there? I took us all the Mount Doom and right back to the Shire.
Yes,
That's
you
what
did.
I did.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I mean, I was afraid I wouldn't remember the taste of strawberries anymore.
No, hold on. You gotta be like this. You do that.
I don't think I can remember the taste of strawberries anymore.
No.
Sam, is that a boner?
Yes, it is.
Are you going to carry me the whole way there like this?
It's a sadness boner.
Can we not carry me this way?
No, it has to be done this way.
As long as my face is up.
It has to be this way, actually.
Okay.
I think at this point, the conversation about Guardians is irrelevant. I think all
See
three.
the shit I put up with.
You do this by choice. This is our birthday gift to you.
Joy.
Happy motherfucking birthday. So, as I said, I think we're kind of at a point where we just don't really. Anything else to be said about Guardians is kind of going into way too much detail, other than.
No, you're not gonna tout the past 45 seconds.
No, we're not. So I think we're just going to close up shop here by just.
Oh, you don't want to just close up with me there?
No. We got to pretend that this conversation at least has some cinematic merit. So, segmenting off, didn't like it as much as the first one. That doesn't mean it's a bad film or not nearly worthy of your time and investment. So please, I couldn't imagine why anyone who watched the first one would have any reservations of wanting to see the second one, but
apparently some people did because our theater wasn't that nearly as full.
yeah, like I thought it would be jam packed to the
Yeah.
gills, but it wasn't actually. So like,
That was odd.
yeah, I was expecting a bigger turnout. Not that it was a small turnout by any means, but it felt like we were like I think we had about the same amount of people in that theater as we did for the Ghost in the Shell movie.
I was
That
gonna say Power Rangers was packed,
yeah, Power Rangers was packed.
but this one wasn't. It was
Yeah, so
pretty
like,
odd.
I don't know, like maybe they were just going for the later showings. I don't know, but point being, I like this movie quite a bit. Probably top 5 I've seen all year.
Yeah, definitely.
I can even easily say top
Definitely.
5. General recommendation, not as good as the first one, but the first one is sort of lightning in a bottle. So,
I disagree. I liked it more.
It suffers from a little tropiness.
So I think you're just going to echo a lot of my sentiments.
Yeah, it's like it's a good standalone film, but it's the first film was just so like artistically unique and humorous, and
I thought the stakes were raised appropriately for a sequel. I thought that it did everything it set out to do. I freaking loved it.
okay.
So all right.
Yeah.
So general 3 recommendation. I can't imagine anyone waiting for our
Not
opinion
a
to
big
see this.
surprise. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But it reminded one good thing about the sequel that I will fully admit, it keeps its own story and keeps it within like the realm of the Guardians of the Galaxy. It did not try to link itself back to the Earth cinematic universe. It didn't try to link up what Iron Man's doing or what fucking
Yeah.
That
or
would piss
Captain-
me off so much.
Captain America's like they kept it right where it needed to be, and that's my one thing against Homecoming. I wanted if I wanted a Spider-Man movie, I would want a Spider-Man movie, not a Spider-Man and Iron Man movie.
I don't know. I do want to see a Deadpool and Cable movie though.
Well, yeah, but at least Deadpool got his own movie first. It's not like
And Cable hasn't been in anything else.
That's true. I think they don't want to do another standalone Spider-Man movie because it's worked so well.
they already established in the cinematic universe that he already is Spider-Man, so let him have his own movie for God's sake.
And he looks like for the finally a really actually good, legitimately good Spider-Man. I mean,
Yeah. I was saying to you is that it took them 5 freaking films to finally cast a young person in a teenage role.
yeah.
Yeah. Although I will say,
But it works.
I will say
think
that
it's great Spider-Man.
even though Spider-Man 2 has aged like shit as compared to when I first saw it in theaters, I still think it's the best Spider-Man movie that has been released.
I thought the first one was.
I thought the first one was, yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2.
I mean, but still, any of those 3 are better than one in the next.
Like I will say this: like Spider-Man 2 was so good that they tried to ape from it again in Spider-Man: Homecoming. With that shot of Spider-Man trying to hold everything together with the webs. It's the exact same pose at the end of Spider-Man 2 when he stopped the subway train.
That's true.
So they tried to that's how good it was.
Willem Dafoe talking to like the Goosebumps mask on the couch.
In the first movie.
I could watch that all fucking day. Watch it, sober, watch it drunk, watch it high, watch it anything. That thing holds up.
I wouldn't mind watching it high.
I think that they should make an entire movie about basically that one night of him and his mask.
Yeah. And Spider-Man 3, I thought it was the worst Spider-Man movie until we saw the Amazing Spooder Bro. The Amazeball Spooder Bro. And I will say that that movie, that's sort of like on the opposite trajectory. Like, Spider-Man 2 was like this, and then as the years went by, it went like this. Whereas Spider-Man 3 was like this, and then on Recollection went like, actually it wasn't.
After watching the next
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not a movie. It was an advertising pitch with a script. All the way through.
I don't know. The Amazeball Spider-Bro 2 did have our favorite actor of all time in it. With Dane DeHaan.
Dane DeHaan, yes. One of our new favorites, yes, for sure. Yeah.
You have yet to imagine, come
Cure
on.
for Wellness. You gotta see Cure for Wellness.
Cure for Wellness,
In hindsight, I realized, man, I really was a little too captivated to miss some of the obvious. Well, that's the thing is I didn't miss the obviousness of it. I didn't.
You didn't miss it. You just,
I just liked it.
Yeah. Sometimes being obvious isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's
I
just
did
how you
predict how it was gonna end. It's just that I didn't mind that.
Yeah, because everything else it did was actually really well. Oh God, you know, like if you're in,
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
I'm sorry,
right
we're
now.
going off topics.
like you missed that movie
I did.
probably for the best because you would have squirmed in your seat during some scenes of A Cure for Wellness.
I've heard that. Yeah.
It wasn't nearly as bad as I imagined it was. I was like gritting my teeth the whole.
Keep in mind, I
beginning.
don't mind.
Mhm.
I don't mind gore, but there are certain.
well, like there was like things being forced down your throat.
After being intubated
Yeah,
once in your life,
you-
no.
like
Ooh.
No.
yeah, being intubated, like forced intubation, and like if you have a dentist fear, you're gonna.
Oh yes, I do. Oh nope.
You're gonna
Nope.
hate this
Nope.
movie.
Nope.
If you
nope.
have a dentist fear in
Nope.
Cure for Wellness,
Mm-mm.
Oh,
you remember the drill?
yeah.
Yeah.
Or just being put on with like tube for breathing or.
Oh yeah, like the
Yeah,
intubation. That's called
Yeah.
intubation. Yeah, that is.
That's
Being-
something, isn't
Yeah.
it?
And if you're watching, if you've ever been intubated, it's like a massive fear of mine now. If you've ever
Huh.
been intubated while conscious,
Mm-hmm.
oh fuck. Yeah.
That's like mostly not done, isn't it?
All of that has nothing to do with Guardians of the Galaxy 2, by the
No.
way. But
You were pretty much.
I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Cut the mic. Let's end this here before
Yeah.
we start talking about things that we're gonna regret.
I got the snaps. Wait, you mean we haven't already?
It can only
We
get
cut
worse
out
from
the
here.
spoilers. My spoilers, all two of them. There's only two.
Thank you for making my editing job that much harder. I think that's your subtle
Yeah.
revenge against me.
I'm glad it wasn't me because I'm normally the one fucking up.
That's not true. Happy birthday!
Oh,
Happy
yes.
birthday!
Happy birthday,
In my life, oh yes it is.
you constant fuck up.
That's not true.
Wrong side.
Oh, I'm using both my eyes. Sorry.
Cut the mic. End. Gone.